Good evening. Welcome to the Auburn Board of Health meeting. Today is March 10th and it is 6 o'clock p.m. Welcome. I'd like to open the meeting by calling it to order and reviewing agenda items. Is there anything we need to add or remove? Steve, anything for you to add? Huh? Darlene, would you like to add anything?
I don't think I need to add anything.
Okay. Excellent. Do we have a bill schedule?
We do not.
Perfect. Moving on. We have approval of minutes from 1/11/2016. Did you notice anything on that, Steve, that you need to change, or how's it look for you?
Did you make the motion to adjourn?
No, I did not make the motion to
That
adjourn.
would be the only thing that I question.
That would be the flip, because I can't make motions. So,
Thank you.
With that one modification, I would motion to approve.
I second the motion. Aye.
Aye?
Okay.
Thank you. We'll have that change made by Paula.
Okay. Whispering Pines Estates. So this is another one of those community rules objections. Is this one of the trailer parks?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Okay.
we, as you know, from time to time, we do get the Attorney General's notices, and we got this one for Whispering Pine Estates.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring it to your attention. I was on the phone with the AG's office earlier this week because we had our renewals for the manufactured housing community. We're trying to pull all of our files, get them up to date, and make sure we have copies of all the updated rules and regulations.
Yep.
And also have the letter from the AG's office saying that they've accepted those rules and regulations. So Paul has been doing a great job of trying to kind of clean up the files, get what we need in there, make sure that we have the historical documents. We were able to get from the AG's office an approval letter that we were looking for a while now. So I got that, but then I also spoke to them about this one, and he did state that he is working with Whispering Pines to be able to get them to make the corrected changes for the rules and regulations, the things that they have seen that needed to be updated. So he expects to have, at least what he told me, he expects to have the changes made fairly recent, in recent weeks.
Okay.
I can send a letter on it, or we can see where we're at for next week. You know, it sounded like he was already in the process of working with them, and so I kind of wanted to see if we get it next week, great. If we don't, then we can send a letter.
Were they one of the ones that we got from them last year? Was it last year or the year before? I know there was a couple. We got two last year.
Yeah, we did get a couple. I'm sorry, I don't remember
No, that's
which
fine.
ones we have.
I just didn't know, because I think if you would have known, you would have remembered if it was this one. That's fine.
We didn't have that in the file, so I'm not sure if this was one. But I just wanted to bring to your attention that this, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Paula, I think this is the only one left now that we just need their approval letter.
Okay.
So basically that stamp of approval. Once we have this one, all of our files will be up to date, and then we'll be able to release their permit. So that's the most recent information from the AG's office.
All right, you can go right into Director's Update.
Okay, thank you. So for correspondence, I have in your packets some of the items that we've sent out in the past couple of weeks. And I also want to just bring to your attention in the correspondence and the housing update, we went to court recently for a housing issue that we had cited some immediate concerns. So the temporary restraining order actually had to be issued because of the seriousness of the situation. So we are working to get those issues resolved. You have in your packet, I think, the recent order that went out, and we will be going back to court to make sure that those issues get resolved. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Obviously, those types of cases take a lot of time and a lot of follow-up. review of the Mass Department of Public Health review of regulations. As you know, I think I mentioned in the past, the administration at the state level has taken a look at all different types of regulations. Recently, I think they had the food one within the past month that they accepted comments on, and now they're also looking for comments on the, I believe it's the camp and the schools, was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was both. Bureau of Environmental Health is seeking feedback. So they have some proposed changes that they're making to camps, and the regulation, I think a lot of the kind of where we get have to pull out the regulation and say, okay, what's that definition again?
Sponsor.
Well,
That's what we have problems with.
how many days they do the camps, and then what type of activity, you know, is it qualifying as like a softball clinic, or if they're doing it, you know, for 5 days, are they truly like a camp?
Yeah.
So a sports camp. So it looks like they have some changes highlighted. I didn't know if there's something, I know, Ray, you do a lot of camps and pools.
I placed my comments through work.
Okay.
We did. One of the things we were talking about is the sponsorship, because a lot of communities have, like we have the Westboro Activities Department.
Sure.
So they sponsor camps. So if they sponsor them, they're not camps, now they're clinics. So that's what, but because we don't know how far the sponsorship goes, that's one of the comments. They did say they were going to clarify that at one point they said these are the terms they want to clarify, and one of them is the definition of sponsored by. And that's the one we always have every year. We're like, well, they sponsor it, but they don't do anything for it. They rent the fields out.
Right.
So if they're renting the fields out, we think the person who is running the camp should be filing as a camp.
Absolutely.
And so, but because it says if they're sponsored by the recreation committee, they don't need to be a camp. So we're trying to figure out the definition of sponsorship. Does that mean the recreation department runs the camp? Or does that mean that if their name is on the brochure, then they don't need to be a camp? That's what we're looking into. The thing is, in Westboro, we don't charge for camps. We have 12 and all that work, and we don't charge for them because, like Steve and Paul always said, if it's for the kids, we're not charging. So that's the way they do it. But if we start having a lot of these big camps coming in town, if it's going to take more of my time, we're probably going to have to start charging even a nominal fee just to
It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of paperwork to check and so forth. We do actually have a municipal camp here that Kristen's done a great job for several years. We've had a municipal camp run by the town, but we have, I think in the past, there's been, you know, maybe a karate camp or something like that. And so having that understanding of, is it truly being run by the town, or are they renting town fields? That doesn't necessarily mean there's an exemption. So, yeah, I do know what you...
So that's one of the things we want clarification. Because a lot of times they'll go to our rec committee and they'll say, hey, we want to do a camp here in town, we want to rent a field, will you co-sponsor it with us? As soon as the Westboro Rec Department puts their name on it, it becomes a sponsorship. But I told him, I said, are you going to take responsibility if something happens?
Right.
And he's looking at me like, I said, well, then you may not want to be on here. So that's why we're looking for the sponsorship. And I think here in town, I know Auburn, the way she runs her camps, they are run by the municipality, so they're exempt really when it comes down to it. But my schools, we have a school camp. We do not exempt them because they're not part of the rec department. They're not considered part of that municipal recreation. So we still consider them a camp, and they have to follow everything that we do. So.
Okay.
That's good. I didn't have any other comments on that. It was just, that was the one definition that bothered me.
So I just wanted to highlight the fact that it looks like they're going through like all their regulations and trying to, I think, maybe consolidate regs when they can, and make applicable changes. The next item is the solid waste update and hazardous waste planning. So the hazardous waste day We're looking, I think we had talked about May, and went back into what we had for a couple of years ago, and it looks like it was in the first week in May. And the first week in May is Saturday, I think the 7th, if I'm not mistaken, May 7th. I'm looking to get confirmation for the space of where we usually have it up the Morgan Arena. Waiting to hear back from them. They've been very generous in the past to allow us to use that space. And the setup is usually, kind of early morning. But we're usually wrapped up, kind of early by, between 1 and 2. So we're hoping that we can still have that space, but I will let you know if that date is confirmed. But hopefully, hopefully that's going to work for us. Central Mass Mosquito Control update. I think I may have mentioned last time, just this is the time of year when they send out all their notifications for opt-in, for requests for spraying, opt-out areas. Those all come in to our office. They also go to the town clerk. The town clerk puts them right up on the website. The Worcester Regional Tobacco Control Collaborative, WRTCC. This is also the time of year that they have their yearly update. We have a luncheon, I think it's a luncheon meeting coming up in April. They sent out kind of a proposed couple of dates. And so I expect at that meeting for them to give us all kind of what's happening through Worcester and regionally what's going on. I know there's a big push, I've mentioned it a couple of times, but it seems to be kind of creating some sort of movement for Tobacco 21. The doctor that is heading that up has contacted us, has contacted the office, and has kind of on a regular basis would like to come to a meeting to see what the temperament of the board is. I just want to pass that along to you. I've told them in the past that the board, when they're ready, they'll look at that. I want to just see if anything's changed, see if you have anything that you want me to do. I mean, there's a lot of changes I think that are happening maybe at the state level, that if we go and change our individual regulations, we've done that in the past where you change the regulation, you go through some changes and then the
situation.
state.
And then the state changes and then they make it different from ours, so then we have to just junk ours. I'm not a smoker. I'm against smoking. Do we have an issue with underage smoking in town?
I
mean, has it come up as an issue?
As you know, they do the routine checks. We've had, I think when I first started, we had kind of several establishments that were having a problem. We did a whole bunch of education and went out and provided education to the vendors about carding and making sure they're on top of those things. I feel like we have had some misses in the past, but I feel like it's a lot better. I think the next movement is towards, do you want to have the individual flavored tobacco cigarettes or cigarillos, I think they're called. There's a lot of those. What they're trying to do is put those together so that you can't buy something single package.
No more single pack. We tried that in Westboro with cigars, but it didn't work. But that's a little different. We outlawed blunts in the town of Westboro, so you can't have blunt wraps anymore. You can't have flavored cigars. You can't have stuff like that. And it works. And I mean, I remember as a kid, there was high school kids smoking everywhere. I remember driving through Auburn, and there were kids who were standing at McDonald's smoking. You don't see that anymore. If kids are starting to smoke now, it's either coming from the home, because there's so much out there, so much education talking about smoking, that a lot of kids aren't picking up the smoking anymore. So I understand what they're trying to do with the 21 towns, but look at all the state universities, there's no smoking allowed on campus. So Worcester State, all that. I believe Holy Cross is smoke-free now too. So you have all these institutions doing it themselves, so the kids aren't smoking on campus. You know, I look at it, yeah, it's, I think I'm willing to wait till the state does something. If we had an issue where every time you drove down the street, you saw underage kids smoking everywhere, then you say, okay, this town needs to do something. I don't see it, do you? I don't see, like, I remember going to the mall.
Years ago, yeah.
Yeah, I remember going to the mall, there was always about 20 kids sitting outside the mall smoking. They're not there anymore.
And I think
A
that
handful here
there's,
and there.
Yeah, but not the big groups.
there's a big push towards, you know, the e-cigarettes and the flavored, you know, liquids that they put in those. I think that's...
And I think that's why they're going to go 21, because
Yeah.
a lot of people are doing that,
Yeah.
and the hookah bars and stuff like that are starting to become more prevalent. Yeah, if it was a big issue, if we saw a lot of it, I would say, yeah, let's jump on this now, let's get ahead of the state, and, you know, but I don't see it, because there's so much education out there now. People are seeing it. Kids, as much as, you know, they sit around and play video games, there's smart kids out there, and they understand, I don't want to smoke, you know? I mean, I remember buddies of mine in high school smoked, because that was the thing to do, and now they're looking going, boy, was I an idiot. And now kids these days, they get so much education in school about it that I think instead of like maybe, I don't know what the numbers used to be, maybe 40% of kids smoked, I think it's down maybe 10%, 15%. I don't know. They have better numbers than I do, the doctors who are doing all that stuff, but I don't see it as a major issue like it was in the past, because of all the education that's out there, because of the commercials on TV and all the stuff you see all the time. So I'm willing to see what the state wants to do first. I'm okay with that. How do you feel on that?
Yeah.
I mean, you see more of it, you know, because in your field, you'll see
More
more.
in the older crowd.
Yeah, it's in the older crowd.
More in the older crowd.
So,
The younger crowd has other problems.
yes.
Which everyone's well aware of.
Yes,
Right.
we all know that.
When we have that yearly update, that meeting that's coming up, I'll bring back, you know, the kind of the hot topics and where the direction is going. And at least you can take a look at it, see if we're still in the same
Yeah.
place, see if there's any new information, and then we can kind of go from there. But I appreciate that. I just, you know, I don't want to miss
No, I understand.
sending along information that comes directly to the office.
Did Worcester take their vote yet, or is that scheduled down the road?
Yeah, I don't know if they took it yet.
Okay.
I know they're discussing it.
Yeah.
It may pass in Worcester. I'll tell you what, if Worcester goes, Boston hasn't gone yet, have they? They were talking about Boston hasn't gone yet, 21. It's
in
close.
discussion,
It's
yeah.
real close. If Boston and Worcester go, Springfield will fall soon after, and then the whole state will go. It's the same thing that happened with the smoking in restaurants. It took the big cities to go first, and then the state said, look, Boston's doing it, Natick's doing it, Worcester's doing it, Springfield's doing it. Let's just clear the whole state, and that's how they did it.
Emergency preparedness update. I wanted to let you know that there was a Region 2 meeting last week that I attended, and we have, there's several things going on. Our region is going to be doing a regional drill. It has to be sometime before June 30th. So they're going to be doing a tabletop exercise. They're working on a template and for the actual drill. Typically, what those tabletop exercises are is it would be like a regional meeting where you have participants from each town, and they'll actually put some sort of event out there, and then as a group, everybody kind of is instructed to play out what you would normally do. We're fortunate. We have kind of a close-knit group here in Central Mass, and of the 74 towns and cities that belong to our region, we have a lot of participation, kind of on a regular basis. So that a date hasn't been announced yet, but I'll let you know when that is. I also sent out, I think, something maybe earlier this week. There was a Han drill. So a drill that came through. Our town was one of, I think, the first, maybe of the first 10 to respond. And they do these drills quarterly, and I'm actually glad they do them because it gives you a chance to brush up. You actually have to log in, and they'll give you an assignment that you have to log in and access Web EOC, which is a state, basically a state program to allow us to correspond at the local level with the state. So it gives us a chance to every couple of months to actually brush it off and do it because you're not dealing with it every day. So
I forgot my login.
it helps. I mean, it helps to like practice and do it. So
I'm in there going, what's my login? What's my login? But if you forget your login at that point, it gets very difficult at that time when everybody's logging in. So
yes.
my boss is like, yeah, don't worry about it. I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, I'll forget about it today.
So they had that. They had a drill. We did. Our town did respond. There's also. I also wanted to bring to your attention. This was something that was discussed. That was kind of. You see a lot of it in the news, and there's been kind of discussion about making sure that people are prepared, especially in the workplace. There's been a number of kind of unfortunate incidences where you've had active shooters come in. So they're actually doing a regional training on April 15th for our region. So they're actually pulling a company together to be able to offer that.
So Alice training?
Yes, exactly. Yep. So they'll be doing that in Grafton. There's also talk about doing some hazmat training as well. Years ago, they had a one-day hazmat training for, I think it was for health and first responders. It's like a one-day course. They had it up at the Skyline Drive. So they're talking about doing that. There's no date on that yet, but I'll let you know. And they're also looking at some possible animal control regional supplies for in the event of an emergency, shelters, and being able to address the need for being prepared on the animal front.
Yeah, we put in for that. We were the first ones on the list.
Yeah.
Steve and I sat there and said, we'll take crates, we'll take this, we'll take that, right across the list. So, because a lot of people will not go to shelter if they can't bring their animals.
Absolutely. Yep.
So now the region is saying, let's get supplies. So we probably have a room half the size of this. It's a storage room, so we know we can take stuff in. So Steve's like, I said, Steve, we have room for that. He goes, oh, we'll find room. I said, okay.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, just you take a look at Hurricane Katrina, and
there was nothing.
You have to pay attention to those sorts of things where you have to recognize that has to be part of planning.
Yep.
We're fortunate in the fact that we have the animal control officer. That position has been brought back to full time. So we have the means now for planning and to move forward with getting supplies and so forth. So I just wanted.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I just wanted to bring to your attention that's kind of one of those things that has been kind of pushed back, and there's several of us at the meeting that are talking about it. These are things that are important to talk about. So just wanted to bring that to your attention.
How frequently do we inventory the emergency response trailer?
So the emergency response trailer we use several times a year. There is a mix of supplies in there. So we have both I would say realistically about half of the trailer is CERT supplies. So the CERT team has things like cots and They have all sorts of electrical cords, should they need to set up a shelter. We have the generator, of course. We've got I keep it stocked with all of our personal protective equipment. I literally have that trailer brought to all the clinics and unload it, use all the equipment. Actually, Paula got the christening of the of the trailer, so just to make sure everybody understands how important those things are. I think Carolyn even got some of the training too at the December meeting.
Are you using and rotating any of the supplies?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, we
good.
actually do. So we rotate even out the printer cartridges, the paper, the gloves, the sanitizer.
Okay.
So we actually
A lot
do.
of that stuff has a shelf life,
Yeah.
and some of it doesn't, but...
Absolutely.
That thing, when I first loaded that with Andy, get these big metal carts that we keep everything
Yeah.
in, rolling them off and then rolling them back on. Those were fun.
Yeah, that
was
is.
great.
I'll tell you.
But you
what,
want something,
it's challenging.
that was nice setup, because those,
Yeah.
when you first got those carts, they were in the basement here. Try getting those out of the basement here.
Oh yeah, I know.
That's what the little windows for.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So we do have a pretty good handle on what's in there. Since you did bring it up, we've had that trailer for several years now. This past December, I noticed we have a small little top of one of the corners is starting to loosen up a little bit.
Okay.
So I've already talked to the region about getting it fixed and reached out to where we could fix it. So we'll be doing that in the next couple of weeks.
Good.
So that will get fixed, but it's a great resource for us, and I make it a point to use it so that we know that should we need it in an emergency, how to set it up.
We still have the MOU with the fire department on that?
Oh, yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah, absolutely. The chief and all
They
the
love
fire
it.
guys, they are so good to us. I mean, they will literally move that on a day's notice, and they'll bring it back. They're great to work
good.
with. So that's kind of the update on the emergency preparedness. The office update, I just wanted to let you know, I'm happy to tell you that we will have a new staff person coming into the clerk's position. We expect them to be starting within the next 2 weeks. So we're very, very happy about that. Obviously, we've been shorthanded for a long time. So we are moving forward, and I think Paula's smiling from ear to ear too. Send in the troops. So that's moving forward. Animal control update, I also wanted to let you know our animal control officer has confirmed a rabies clinic for April 9th. So that is going to be actually held here at the town hall. We'll have a mobile unit here, and the clinic will operate out of the mobile unit. So there will be veterinarians. They're going to be providing rabies, and then also microchipping for a fee. And so she has that advertised out on social media, cable access, and so forth. So we're pretty excited. We haven't had a rabies clinic in quite a while, so.
We have ours on the 9th in Westboro. I'm working it.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, every
nice.
year it's that same weekend every year.
Oh,
One
okay,
of two of our local vets get together and they do it there. So.
Nice, yeah. So we're excited about that. The inspections, obviously Eileen couldn't be here this evening. She wanted me to let you know, we have a new residential kitchen that she, actually I think it was today that she opened them. It's going to be for purposes of baked goods. So I'll let her tell you the name of it when she comes. I apologize, I don't have the name of it. The golf course, the town of Auburn has taken over Packagug Golf Course as of January 1st of this year. So they have been working hard to get just all sorts of renovations going on up there. DPW has had all hands on deck for the past several months, and surprise, the weather was a welcome sight, and so it kind of moved up the proposed opening. And so yesterday with 70 degrees, they opened for the first day, and it was a big hit. So the whole clubhouse has been completely renovated, and I'm happy to say they have new food service equipment as well. They're going to be doing a kind of a lighter menu, prepackaged snacks, chips, drinks, all that. But they're also going to do some like pizza, hot dogs, and so they have some nice new equipment that I think literally is being delivered this week. So very, very exciting, kind of a big deal. So Eileen's been spending a lot of time on that. And then we also have the I think she mentioned the Make-A-Wish Foundation or Make-A-Wish event that's going to be happening in May. I think it's May 19th. It's a Sunday. So she has been working with that organization. It's going to be a pretty big, don't quote me on that date, maybe it's May 15th. I'm not sure of the date. But it's going to be in May. You'll hear more about it, but they're going to be doing an event at the across from the police station.
Koi Arena. The fields.
The fields, right. So they'll be doing, thank you, Lemansky Field. I think they have a coordinated road race as well. So building, Board of Health, Parks and Rec. So there's going to be coordinated effort. Police obviously are going to be covering the road race, but I think it's supposed to be a pretty large event. So they had a lot of time spent on that as well. And I have the Maven report.
More of that at work.
And then one final thing, I wanted to just turn it over to Carolyn Griffin. She is obviously been working hard on putting together an educational program for promotion of education about concussions and related injuries. And I think she has some exciting news to share for a date.
Oh, right. So I met with one of the lead nurses from the Auburn schools, and she also did talk, by the way, with the superintendent too.
Nice.
And April 25th at the Auburn Middle School, we'll have a do concussion event, and we'll especially talk about the Massachusetts law related to student athletes and the concussion training and education. And we'll have a speaker, by the way, from a young girl who was injured during a cheerleading event, and she is a speaker from the American Brain Injury Association. She'll come and speak too. So we'll do, like I said, a little science background. We'll have our speaker, and then we'll talk about too the concussion training that's required by all students, parents, and athletes.
Excellent.
Thank you very much, Carolyn. She's been working, this was kind of, when Carolyn first came to us, she had some ideas, and that was one of the things that she was passionate about. And, obviously, education is going to be great, and just the fact that we could partner with the school nurses was a really nice. School nurses are so nice.
Yeah, she's fabulous. Yeah. And it's just interesting because the town's athletic blue card, when the parents sign, there's a little asterisk underneath that says by signing here, I have certified I have completed the Concussion Education program, but a lot of people don't know that. My husband signed for my daughter, and was like, oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
So I think this will be a good way to get the word out a little bit more too.
That's all.
That's the 25th of April?
Yes, April 25th.
Oh, that's at the new middle school,
At
right?
the new middle school, yes. I haven't even been there yet.
I mean, you know.
Monday.
Thank you so much, Caroline.
All right, is there anything else we need to go over?
I don't think so.
Okay. Just a side note, on the next meeting, can Eileen get us some concrete numbers on restaurants so far for the year or however, just so we can have some percentages and figure out where we are?
Sure.
Good, thank you. Okay, Steve, anything you need to add? Do you want to look at some dates for April? So we definitely have to meet sometime in April because early May we're looking to have the Household Hazardous Waste Day. Okay. So I'm open. Any Wednesday or Thursday, you tell me what works for you, and we'll follow yours.
Not having my work schedule as far as the 21st, that's the first Thursday I have open. I work the 2 weeks ahead of time.
Yep. So you said the 21st of April?
Right, and I just don't have my work schedule for that month.
For that month, yeah.
So I could probably put it in.
If you want to pencil it in now for the 21st, we can look to that.
Okay.
6 o'clock still work?
Yep.
Okay. That's fine by me. I mean, it's going to be almost 5 weeks before we meet. If anything comes up, if there's anything you need, let us know. Because did we put a second date down for March, or we just put one?
We had the 24th.
Okay.
We were holding
Well-
the 10th and the
24th.
24th in case we needed it.
Okay, so we're holding the 24th. If something comes up, that's fine. So why don't we just set the 21st in April for now?
Okay.
And, we're coming into time where, we're getting close to Household Hazardous Waste Day. That's usually the biggest event in the spring. And then we slow down a little once the summer hits. And,
Okay, so 6 p.m. still works.
yeah,
Okay,
that's
great.
for me. Yep. And then if I pass my class, I'm not taking a class over the summer, so we can always drop back to Monday, so you guys don't have to stay after hours on Wednesdays
Okay, whatever works.
or Thursdays or whatever day we're here. I don't know what day of the week it is half the time. I work too much, too many classes, and
I work every Wednesday, Thursday in the first half of the month. So.
okay, that's fine. Whatever, this was to help me out, and I appreciate it. So it's
I was just thinking if there was a pressing need that we needed to meet before.
Yeah.
But
and there's always Mondays and Tuesdays. If I'm not here, if you can get Marion to meet with you, then you guys can meet without me if it's an emergency. I mean, and I can. If I'm at work on a Tuesday night, I'll text in from work. You can put me on speakerphone or something, and I can always be part of the meeting. It's not an issue because I have to be at work, but it doesn't say I have to open my office door.
I don't, I think when they discussed the remote participation.
They don't do remote.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think that was.
That's fine.
That was gonna be something that they were gonna consider
Okay.
at this time
Yeah.
anyways.
It's fine. I'll just have a phone and just listen in. I won't vote.
Okay. All right.
I'll
well-
just text Steve and say, no.
All right, so we'll have it for April 21st at 6 p.m. for
Sounds
the
good.
next meeting.
All right. Well, that's if we don't need the 24th, correct?
Right,
Yeah, okay.
absolutely.
All right.
motion to adjourn?
I second that motion. How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you and have a good night.